Hey everyone, it's Sensei Victoria Whitfield here, your journey partner in business, welcoming you back to episode 107 of the Journeypreneur Podcast. This is your source for channeled holistic stress management techniques, guidance, inspiration, and motivation to stay on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. So the title of this podcast episode is There's Riches in Your Ditches. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the phrase riches in the niches, but after a really powerful session today with my VIP group, the Visionary Shaman Circle, I wanted to share with you this concept of digging your ditches. And how I came across it, I was inspired in my morning reading. Every morning I read a selection from The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And she was recounting a Bible or a Torah story. For those of you who are of Judeo Christian religion, you're familiar with this book, of how Moshe or Moses was leading his people through the desert, and as they were wandering through the desert, they got super thirsty, and they're like, Moshe, please, we are so thirsty, we're dying of thirst, you got to find some water, tell God to make water appear out of thin air. And so he talks to God, and God tells him to go and dig ditches in the sand. And everyone thinks Moshe or Moses is crazy, and that's how you're going to feel if you're a visionary. People are going to think you're nuts following your inner guidance, right? Following the vision. But when they did and they gave thanks for the ditches, suddenly water appeared. Now, for me personally, I am a fan of this story because I am all about the study of the engineering behind miracles. So it was a miracle that they experienced, right? They're out in the middle of the desert, wandering around for, a really long time, and they had told by some unseen force, right? Some intuitive, guiding spirit to dig ditches in the middle of the sand. What in the world? What, are we going to dig our own graves, right? This must have what they've been thinking. But it was because they did that and celebrated the ditches that water appeared. There is a system going on there, and that's what Florence Scovel Shinn in her book is really focusing on. What's the science behind it? And science I mean the study of systems, right? Observable systems. What is this observable system that A plus B equals water coming out of sandy ditch in the middle of the desert? What is A and what is B, and what was the catalyst that created this magical miracle reaction to occur, right? And so this is what I wanted to highlight for you. I'm inspired to get to share this with you. I hope this opens your eyes to something that you may be overlooking. Because I know in the Visionary Shaman Circle discussion that we had was really powerful about this idea of there's riches in your ditches. And so with that being said, Florence was sharing how there's an element of positive expectation, and this continues our discussion that we had in the last podcast episode on the universe is responsive. But especially, we're taking this another step further with Florence, looking at this story from the Torah of, wait a minute, it's not, the universe isn't just responsive, but what am I doing to inspire the universe to respond in a certain way? Because Florence was pointing out that this digging of the ditch, even during a time of extreme drought, in an extremely dry place, while they were dying of thirst, digging of this ditch was a demonstration of positive expectation. It is a physical demonstration of massive faith. What are you doing? What am I doing? As I was reading this, I started asking myself, what am I doing to demonstrate that I am open and receptive to the healing waters that I've been calling for and desiring and visioning, right, and vision boarding and affirming? What is the physical representation? What is the physical ritual that I am observing to say I have full faith that this is going to happen, and I'm going to do this to show that I am expecting that it's going to happen? I am digging my ditches, right? Continuing from our last podcast episode where I was sharing about how in more of my friend and family circles, there's a lot more conversations about like stressful, uncertain, kind of scary times that are going on, right? And if you're looking through the lens of what do I need to be worried about right now, I think you would certainly agree that, yeah, there's stressful times. Times are hard. The struggle is real. You know what? At the same time that the struggle is real, child, the snuggle is real too. So relax. If you could just shift the radio station from 97.1 over to 97.8, just a couple of radio stations over, where the struggle is real turns into the snuggle is real, where there is so much more to be grateful for. And that instead of expecting the drought, like in a previous podcast, we instead are expecting tidal waves, right? And that's why we're digging ditches. You know, I believe it was in Think and Grow Rich. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it was Napoleon Hill talking about how some of the biggest businesses were built during the Great Depression, right? During times of massive uncertainty. And I know Tony Robbins has pointed that out in many of his talks and books, that some of the most enduring organizations sprung up during stock market crashes and all of that. When things, according to some people, are looking tough or scary, this is a wonderful opening for you to go in and dig ditches of positive expectation. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Digging your ditch, right? Does that mean, like, okay, in your business, you're going to go out into the back parking lot and you're going to get, like, a jackhammer, and you're like, all right, I'm digging my ditches because I want my ditches. And you're going to, hammer into the ground, and then, squirrels and water are going to fall into the hole that you tried to dig, and Victoria, it didn't work. I dug my ditch. And no. If that's what you're thinking, bear with me. You might be listening to the allegory and going literal. So, it's the image. The image is what I'm trying to relate to you. The vision. Pull the vision apart. Pull the image apart for the substance that's in it for you. That's the work. That's the work. Don't just take this literally. Unpack it. Digest it. Integrate it into your own life. Record your own podcast episode based off of this one so that you're able to understand in a very deep way what I'm saying here. But digging your ditches, what that can look like in your business, well, I'll put it on me. What I've done this year in particular is I went in on $9,000 investment into a company that's going to do done-for-you stuff for me. And they are building out this whole thing. And I have to sit on my hands for 3 weeks while they build out the whole thing. I'm like, I'm looking at that launch date. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do the thing. Right? I dug my ditch. My ditch was dug $9,000 down into the ground or into my bank account, right? That's an investment. But I've made an investment in my business, in my team, in a team of experts specifically to take what I do to the next level, to help me help and reach and connect with more people than ever in a more fun and soulful and direct way than ever. And I won't be the one putting it together. Now, this is huge.
this is huge because as a recovering control enthusiast and as a recovering addicted to achievement type person, right, where I will, if I want to feel productive, I will start cleaning just so that the achiever in me will feel like, yes, I won. I cleaned this like piece of stuff. I know you do it too. Oh my gosh. So because we all do it together, it gives me the courage to put it out there. Shout out to you if there's any high achievers listening in who end up doing lots of small tasks instead of moving the needle forward. So this is big for me, right? Making it's significant, it's not nothing. $9,000 ain't nothing. Investment into a done for you service, done by experts. Like this is something else for me. This will be the first time that I've really invested in that. And usually for me personally, I'll share along my own journey where I'm at, is that for $9,000 and up, or $8,000 and up investments, I've only really done that, or even $5,000 and up investments. I've mostly only given that much money to coaching, right? Or group coaching programs, transformational events, and certifications in education. So it's been more of, instead of paying for done for you stuff, it's do it yourself or do it with you, like show you how to do it type stuff is what I have personally invested in. But as a visionary, as someone who is making steps to be wholly and completely in alignment to being the Chief Visionary Officer, CVO of my organization and nothing else, I gotta have the courage to, step my toe into investing in rockstar expert help that can realize that vision for and with me. Right? So shout out to you if you're on a similar level of your journey. And also big hugs and kisses to those of you who aren't quite there yet, right? Maybe you're listening into this podcast right now and you're thinking about starting a business, or you finally made the leap and oh my gosh, you just like got your LLC or whatever. You just left your corporate job. You're like, oh my gosh, now what, Victoria? I'm sending you all the hugs, all of the kisses, all of the grounding and clearing energy. I know it is all kinds of spooky when you're stepping out into being an entrepreneur as a conscious, energy sensitive human being in the first place, right? It's something else making that leap. So big hugs to you if that's you. But for where I'm at, right now, personally, I'm making a different kind of leap as an entrepreneur, going from being the implementer and integrator into going into being the visionary and investor leader. So with that all being said, the more that I dig my ditches, the more faith I have got to soak up, right? I believe I recorded another podcast episode, or it might have been a love letter, or both, or y'all, I've been putting out so much content over the years. I'm starting to get my marbles scrambled, but I know I talked about feed your faith at some point in time, but it bears repeating. My faith now that I'm stepping out and digging ditches, expecting next level returns, the more my hunger for faith has deepened, because the actions that I am taking are calling up and basically burning off the nutrients of faith in my spiritual body at a higher rate. My faith metabolism has increased, right? And so when you are doing things that are massive risks, right? As an entrepreneur, that's what we do. We take risks. It's important to make sure that you make time on a regular basis
to feed your faith. Listen to stories of overcoming. Listen to this podcast. Binge listen to this podcast for all of the positive mindset tips that I share, best practices for self-care, as well as all of the incredible stories of overcoming that my awesome guests have been sharing, right, over this we're almost going on a year of recording now. So make sure that you listen to things that lift you up, inspire you to believe that the best is yet to come. That is a phrase, by the way, that my father says often. Hi, Dad, if you are listening, I love you. But listen to things, go to places, speak to people, right? Read things that inspire you to believe that the best is yet to come. Because, just like as we discussed in the last podcast episode, the universe is responsive to that. If you are calling that in, right, and believing deeply and feeling deeply that the best is yet to come, then guess what? Things are just going to keep getting better and better and better. So here's another thing about the riches are in your ditches. When I went on a vision journey this morning with my VIP mastermind group, the Visionary Shaman Circle, when I went on that vision journey for myself, what my spirit guides revealed to me is that I am very rich right now. Now, I'm on my way to a mastermind where I'm going to be sitting across the table from people who make tens of millions of dollars, people who make several $100 million. And in my own business, I'm not there yet. I make a couple $100,000 currently at the recording of this podcast episode, right? Scaling up right now to go to the next level. But when I'm building my business and I'm in it day to day, I'm going to admit, I don't really feel so rich. I mean, I feel happy, I feel fulfilled, I feel creative, but rich if I'm working. Maybe this is just me sharing something about my own journey and how I feel about it. But if I'm working, I have a different relationship with feeling rich. But in my vision journey this morning, my spirit guides made it a point to show me that I am very, very rich because of all of the social capital I have accrued over the years. They started showing me these visions of ditches that in the sand where there were the faces of all of the people and organizations that I have put time and love and energy and presence and money into, and how much wealth, like healing water, was bubbling up out of those ditches towards me. And I was just in awe seeing how even in the middle of the desert, right, what could be perceived a desert, I had dug so many wells of love, wells of wisdom, wells of friendship and support and resources in the people that I've connected to. So for those of you who are in your business right now or going about your life, if you're not feeling very rich, I would challenge you to look at how good the people are in your life, because people are worth more than money, right? People, when the internet, if it decides to, if the internet goes down, if we have a power outage, right? Or if the bank has a problem and you can't get to your money, it's going to be the people in your life who are going to support you and uplift you. It's going to be your ability to work with and connect to and love up the people in your life that's going to get you through a situation that may seem insurmountable. I know years ago when Hurricane Sandy hit New Jersey, and we had oak trees down on both sides of our street. So the oak trees were down on one side and the oak trees were down on the other, and there was no way for us to actually get out of our house. It was the people in our lives, our friends, our family, right? Then also first responders, local community officials, people who are heads of organizations nearby, our neighbors. It was the people who were able to bring us food, help us recharge our cell phones, and just to encourage us while we were down and out for a little over 2 weeks. Right? I think it was like around 15 days. So it was an incredible experience to see that, just how rich we really are when everything else goes down, if it should, right? If it decides to, here or there, that it's the people in our lives that really fill our life with riches. So if you are ever feeling down and out, or like, oh, I don't have enough money, or oh, I don't know if I have enough clients, you're getting those sweats, look to the people in your life, look to the relationships that surround you, and remember how incredibly supported, loved, and connected that you are. And if you don't have too many organizations that you're connected in, go ahead, go contribute. Find a way to add value and to be of service so that you have that beautiful net that gives you that inner confidence, knowing that no matter what, you're supported because you got people, right? We got people, baby! Dig your ditches socially, because that's another way to uncover all of the riches in your life. And another thing, and this will be the last point I make, because I gotta head on upstairs to the mastermind. I just arrived. And this is something that we were talking about in the Visionary Shaman Circle. Maybe there are ditches that you have dug, and you, for whatever reason, you forgot about them, right? Maybe you've lost your sense of faith in the dreams that you have aspired to. Maybe you made an investment and you're not really feeling so faith-filled about it. You're feeling more worry-filled about it. If this is the situation, I would encourage you to do a ditches audit, right? Take a look at your life and business, where you have dug your ditches, where you have set up a positive expectation. What goal cards have you written out? What investments have you made, financially, energetically, emotionally, socially, right? What ditches have you dug? And have you been pouring love, positive energy, faith, inspiration and encouragement into these ditches? Or have you instead just kind of sat back with a sense of frustration or even entitlement, thinking, well, I put this out here, where's my return on investment, sort of a thing, rather than managing your energy and your emotions in relationship to it. I would encourage you to take a look at the ditches that you've already dug and remember to fill them with your faith. Celebrate them. Sometimes in the act of celebrating them, it may be time to close up the ditch and move on to the next one. We are all on our own unique journeys, right? I can't necessarily say that for you, what season you're at personally, well, because you're listening in. But I would love to get to hear your unique situation, by the way. So if you're listening in and that speaks to you, go ahead on over to my website, victoriawhitfield.com/quiz, so that you can take the quiz and book in for a business breakthrough consult call with me. I would love to get to talk to you about what's going on with your ditches. Do you need more of a faith infusion, or is it time to pack up and move on and release it back into nature? All right, so by the way, if this is your first podcast episode, thank you for visiting, for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And when you leave us a 5-star review, go ahead and leave a comment. This is episode 107. I would love to know, what was the one thing that stuck out to you the most? What was your main takeaway from today's podcast episode? All right, and the real party is over on Facebook at the Entrepreneur Master Manifestors Facebook group, where we can keep this conversation going as a group of hundreds of entrepreneurs from all over the world, right? So come on over, dig your ditches there, right? Sending you so much love. Mwah. And as always, please remember to enjoy the journey. Do not lose your glow as you grow in life and business. And I'll see you in the next podcast episode. Bye for now.